I'm Jenny Blackwood, a small-town mom of four who refused to settle for a life that didn't light me up. When everything felt uncertain, I didn't run back to a 9-to-5, I bet on myself. I took a simple idea and turned it into an almost seven-figure business my first year, all while being a mom first. Now I'm here to help you trust your own power, chase the dream that keeps tapping your shoulder, and build a life that feels like you. This is Girl, Why Not You? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting and life-changing episode of Girl, Why Not You? I am your host, Jenny Blackwood, and today we're talking about something that I think a lot of people think they want until it actually happens, right, Elena? What happens when your idea actually works? And by the way, faster than you expected. When the thing you dreamed about suddenly takes off and you're sitting there like, wait, I don't even know if I'm ready for this yet. Because we talk all the time about starting before you're ready, but no one really talks about what happens when success comes before you actually feel you're there. That's what this episode is about. Today, I am joined by the beautiful Elena DiStefano, founder and inventor of Cozy Clip, which, you guys, is the world's first flexible claw clip for your hair. And what's so wild about her story for me is that she created this as a college student with zero experience. And within months, it went viral. She scaled super quick, landed retail partnerships, and built a real business, all while having to figure it out in real time. And what I love about this conversation is that it's not just her highlight reel, okay? It's what it actually looks like behind the scenes when things take off really fast. Elena, I am so freaking excited to have you here today. Your story is just, everybody here, saddle up. It's going to be a good one. As you probably know, for anybody listening, I always really like to kind of take it back to the beginning because I think that's where people can really relate the most. So take us back to you as a college student with this idea. Where did it come from and what was going on for you internally at this time?
Sure. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for hyping me up in the beginning.
Hype
Makes my
girl.
day.
I'm the
Thank
ultimate hype
you.
girl. You deserve every word.
Thank
Every
you.
word.
That's so nice. So I first had the idea for Cozy Clip, which is a soft, flexible claw clip that you can wear
Love
comfortably in the
that.
car while laying down whenever you want, as a college student, because I was wearing claw clips all the time. And if you have long hair and you put your hair in a claw clip and you try to drive in it, try and be comfortable in it, you literally can't. It
Yeah, not
feels
happening.
so hard. Yep, uncomfortable. So I one day just got so frustrated with it. So I searched online soft claw clips to sleep in, and nothing popped up. The only thing I saw were those flat jaw clips, but it wasn't a solution for me because I wanted my claw clip, but I wanted it to be softer. I still wanted the same hairstyle and everything. So when I saw there was nothing on the market, I wrote the idea down in my notes app, and I just didn't wanna wait for someone else to do it. I just wanted to do
Got it.
it because I wanted the product for myself to wear it. So that's kind of how it started, and then that's when that was in 2022, by the way. So that's when
Okay.
I started to be like, "Okay, let me try and see how I can bring this to life."
That is the freaking coolest thing
Thank you.
ever. And everybody, this girl's 25. I mean, this is wild. And she was doing this in
Thanks.
college. So the thing is, where I am just like, yes, girl, is that you are a college kid. All you're worried about at this point is like passing your classes,
True.
showing up, having some fun, right? But here you are at a very young age, because back in 2022, you were,
I was a senior in college. Wait,
wow.
no, I was a junior.
That is
Yeah.
wild, okay? I was not thinking these things when I was your age, and I look back at myself and I'm like, "Come on, what were you doing with your life? Wasting time."
Oh.
But for you to see, okay, there's something I really love, but it's not quite working. There's something that is, like, leaving something to be desired,
Yeah.
and I think it would be better if it was this. Then you naturally go on a hunt for it. You find, "Oh, said product does not exist." Most of us, and I'm sorry, everybody, but most of us would probably have been like, well, I guess I'm just going to stay stuck with this same old uncomfortable clip. But no, you were like, I see a gap here and I'm going to shoot it. And that, my friend, is what entrepreneurship is freaking made of. You're like, why can't I change this? Why can't I make a difference here? If I need this, think of all the other women who we've been plagued by this hard plastic clip for our entire lives, right? So that is so cool. So
Thank you.
here you are, you're like, I'm going to do this. What were those first steps like? Like, how did you go from idea to like, let's freaking go?
Right. So the first thing I did was I just Googled it. I was like, how do I start to make a product? I didn't even know how I was going to make a more comfortable claw clip. Like I had ideas for it. I wanted it to be soft and I knew I wanted it to kind of bend when I leaned my head back, but I didn't know what that entailed. So
Hmm.
I just like started Googling and then I reached out to like my community at college to see like what resources I had available to me and my
That was smart.
university. What's that?
That was really smart to look
Thank
at your
you.
university as a resource. Yatta
Thanks.
girl.
So I saw that my university, which was Hofstra, has something called the Idea Hub, and they have 3D printers on campus, and they actually have pitch competitions. So I entered one. I worked really hard on just showing my idea. I didn't think much of it. I got third place, and I was like, "Wow! Like my idea, like is worth something." And then they had a bigger competition the next year. So at this point, I was like, "Okay, I'm really determined, like, I need to have a physical prototype, like, I need to show, like, how I'm gonna manufacture this, what my business plan is." So, I
Wow.
worked day and night on my business plan, and then I won 1st place, and then I
Ah!
won
I
I
love
won Thank you, yeah, I
that.
received funding for that, so I used that all the way up until, like, the prototyping phase, which was, like, April 2023 till, like, 2025, I used the money to prototype it at home in my bedroom on my 3D printer, to buy an injection mold for my product, lots of stuff, so I was able to
Wow.
extend that funding pretty far, and I just kept building and working on it, and I probably made, like, 20 to 30 different prototypes myself, and then eventually I hired an engineer with experience in motor vehicle safety design to
Mm.
bring the product to life, because there's only so much I can do.
Totally.
Yeah,
That is like the fact that you even thought, where do I start? I'm gonna look on Google. Okay, now what can I do? And you found a way for your university to work for you. You win
true.
this competition. That is so cool. So
Thanks.
here you are, you're going through all these steps. This is obviously something you've never done. This is not
Never.
something that you have a lot of confidence in. You're like, I don't know, I guess I'm just gonna wing it till I figure it out, right?
Yes.
So what were some things that might have caught you off guard kind of in the early days?
Ugh. Um, you know, I love the, female founder, like, network. I think
Yeah.
everyone I have met has been literally so amazing and so helpful. There have been, like There's been, like, one bad apple that took me off guard, like,
Mm,
when I first started that I was like, "Wow, like, this industry can be a little bit cutthroat," and I was like, "I'm just here trying to bring my product to life because I want it. I don't really care that much about, like, being the most profitable or, like, whatever, like, obviously, that's important when you're building a business, but, like, I just wanted this product to work for myself and for others, and
yeah.
there's some people who just, who might take your idea and try and
Mm.
copy you, and
Oh,
I was
yuck, I
taken
bet there
advantage
are.
of that. Yeah, so that kind of took me off guard, but everyone that's, like, genuine, who's actually, like, an entrepreneur has literally been amazing, like, I love the community.
Good.
Yeah.
You need that,
Yeah.
especially when you're an aspiring entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
really need people who are like in your corner because you're right. It's very easy to be taken advantage of. It's very
Yeah,
easy for people to talk you out of a great idea just because
true.
they don't have the gumption to do something like that themselves. So I'm glad that you totally listened to your gut. Did you ever have any like moments going through this because of the lack of experience and just really what the heck am I doing? Do you ever have any moments where you were like having imposter syndrome? While trying to put this together?
Kind of. Like, I am a very optimistic person where I'm just like,
Yes.
I'm gonna go after what I want and I might fail, but that's okay. But there has been times where, like, I am going into this blind. I don't have prior product development experience where I had to learn a lot of things just about, like, the manufacturing process or, like, figuring out how to create a softer claw clip was really challenging because it's not as easy as you would think. So I actually had to work for years with the engineer to like figure out how we can make it soft and hold your hair at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was really challenging, but we pushed through and there's still things today that I'm like, okay, I need to keep iterating and things like
Yeah.
that.
And you always will. You always will,
Exactly.
especially, new competition comes out, you're like, "How am I gonna make it better?" I
Yeah.
love that for you. Something that you said that really just stuck with me, when I asked you if you had imposter syndrome, you're like, "Kind of." But
Yeah,
really what I actually heard is you going, I really I didn't lead with the fear of rejection. I didn't lead
exactly.
with that. I decided that I was gonna be optimistic, that I was gonna figure it out. That is such a massive trait to have as somebody who wants to start a business. We all have to get over ourselves. We all have to
Mhm.
get out of our own way, and we have to stop fearing rejection that may not even exist, and guess what? A lot of times, even in really good ideas, it does exist, and you have to work through it. I mean, think about it. I get hit with this Jeff Bezos stuff all the time. It's like he tried for what, 5 years before Amazon actually became a thing? How many times do you think he wanted to give up? But he didn't. But
Right.
he led with confidence like you did. And I think that that's something that everybody listening here should really, really embrace and harness and see that a very young, amazing woman was like, well, what do I have to lose? Like, this is a good idea and I'm going to try to see it through. That's what you lead with. You don't lead with fear. So good for you. So let's talk about how you accidentally went viral. How did it happen? What did it look like?
Yeah. So I have been, in contact with my mentor from the pitch competition from all the way back in college to now, and he, like, helped me navigate this whole entire process of building a product and starting a business. So I had the version that I was like, "Okay, this works and I like it." And he was like, "You need to have other people test it." And I was like, "Okay, well, how can I do that? Like, go to, like, a farmer's market?" I don't know. It eventually just took too long where I was like, I'm just gonna, like,
Yeah.
post it online and, I know this is gonna, like, resonate with so many people, but I wasn't expecting it to go viral.
Yeah.
And I just had, like, 60 3D printed clips, and I was like, "I just want people to test it and share their feedback with me so that way I can make changes to it before I invest in an injection mold," because that's, like, an investment, you know?
Yep.
So, I posted a video being like, "Okay, reminder, like, tomorrow, like, I'm dropping, like, the 3D printed cozy clips, like, so you know." And then that video got, like, 2,000,000 views, and then I
Whoa.
was like, "Oh my gosh, this is, like, a lot." So then the next day, there was, like, so many people on the website, it sold out in, like, 7 minutes or something like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
And then I was like, "Okay, so I need to, like, move really fast with this." So that's what I started to do. I found a manufacturer within a month and then made some changes to it based off the feedback I had, and then I still wasn't able to launch pre-orders until June of 2025, and then that took a while too because everything just takes longer than you expect, but
Yes, and you're
yeah.
like, "Come on.
Right.
This isn't working for my type A personality." That is so crazy. So you go viral, you sell out in 7 minutes, you start like, "Holy moly, I actually have something here." Is that when that really hit you? Like, "Oh my gosh, this idea is legit."
Yeah, it was like I always knew that, but I feel like, talking with my mentor, he's like, very, like, risk averse, but I
Mhm.
kinda feel like in my situation, like, I could be a little bit more risky, but, just trying to, like, figure out how we can do this, like, in a smart way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually it's very smart of you to be willing to take a risk. I mean, I always tell people when it comes to risk, most risks are worth taking,
Yeah.
unless if your risk is gonna, like, put you out of house and home, you can't feed your children, you can't do the maybe
Right.
we should find a different route. But if you can, like, literally sit with yourself and say, "Okay, what is the worst thing that could happen here? What's the worst thing?" And if the worst thing is livable, it's palatable, and you're like, "It would suck, but I can do
Right.
it," right? I don't know, maybe this is a terrible mentality I have, but I'm always like, "Hey, there's always more money to be made." There always
Mhm.
is. There is, and so I really applaud you for that. So, what do you feel like a lot of people get wrong when it comes to being an overnight success? People probably
Mhm.
have a perception, but what do you think people are misconceiving about it?
Hmm. I think people think that I'm a really big brand and company, and I'm like, "No, it's actually just me."
Wow.
So, people, like, I don't know, like, they think, "Oh, it's viral, like, it should be perfect." No,
Yeah.
it's not perfect, I'm not perfect, I'm just starting this, I'm a college student who just wanted to create a better claw clip, and things take time, like, when I was doing the pre-orders, people waited for, like, 3 months, to
Wow.
get their order, but, like, people just don't understand, like, there's so many things that can happen in manufacturing, like, just the pin and the spring for my product, like, it needed fine-tuning, like,
Mm,
there's things like, I care about my product, I want it to work good, I don't wanna sell something that, like, isn't how I want it to be,
sure.
so things just take longer. I don't have a magic wand, unfortunately.
Yeah, I get it. You don't have a magic wand. I
Right,
wish we all did.
yeah.
So, how did you feel you were able to be super resourceful without experience or a team behind you? I mean, that's really freaking hard. You have a product. You've done all this legwork on your own with some help of a mentor, but
Mhm.
really it's like fallen on your lap. So, what was that and how does it still continue today to be like for you being like a solo woman operation?
Hmm. I think I'm just super motivated and passionate about my product and my business that it
Yeah.
pushes me through. And I love working on Cozy Clip. Like, I just am on my laptop working from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep because I just want to push the business forward so much. And I genuinely love to work on it, which can be a problem at times too because my work life balance is like pretty bad. But I'm passionate about it and I just love to do it.
I think that for you, like, know that because you feel so passionate about it and because you're able to work around the clock and still actually love it, it really
Mhm.
just shows me that you're in alignment with where you're supposed to be. I
True.
think that even if you're working around the clock, because I do the same thing, like, I
Mhm.
just feel like, God, why do I never put this down? But I still have a passion for it. I still love it. It's like, do you ever feel like your business gives you like dopamine hits?
It
Like, when you're like,
does.
constantly searching for that, right? And then something
Yeah.
will happen to be like, "Oh, hit." It's like maybe that's our addiction, which I guess is good because it helps us make money and it's something we love. But I
Right.
totally understand what you're saying. It is hard to have work-life balance and it's one of those things where, I'm always like, "Do your own thing, everybody." But I'm not trying to tell you that like you're going to work less. You're probably going to work more, but you're going to like it and you're going to have more flexibility more often than not. What would you say is like something that's been the most emotionally challenging piece of this for you?
I'm just gonna have to say dealing with copycats, but I feel
Ugh,
like I manage it really well because sometimes people will come up to me and be like, "I'm so scared about my product being copied, blah, blah, blah," and I just don't look at it. I just am so focused on my own business and what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna let, like, what other people are doing make what I'm doing with my business, like, any different. Like, I have my own vision for Cozy Clip, and I'm gonna keep going after that, and yeah,
I love that. And you
thanks.
stick with that, girl. That has to be really hard because
Yeah,
you're in a very dog eat dog industry. And
yeah.
I think that that would be very hard to navigate. But you are
Mhm.
doing it. You obviously have the grit for this girl.
Thanks.
So if someone listening has an idea but feels like they have no experience, just like you had no experience, what would you say the first step would be for them?
The first step I would say is honestly ask ChatGPT.
Yes.
You know, be like, "I have an idea for this. How can I create this product?" And it'll tell you, like, the different, like, types of, like, manufacturing methods. I think it was important for me to figure out how I was gonna manufacture my product so I can figure out how I could create my product because it's very
Sure.
different if you have, like, a plastic product or if you're doing something that's, like, made out of fabric, like, you have more leeway with that.
Yeah.
I would say, like, just honestly Google it and ask ChatGPT.
That's such a smart idea. We
Thanks.
are living in an age of AI, like, we
Yeah.
should all be using it because it's gonna save us so much time and headache, it's gonna head us straight to the point.
Mhm.
Elena, this has been such a good conversation. If anybody's watching this on YouTube, I've had a stupid smile on my face the whole time because I'm just so proud of this girl.
Aw.
And I think that what people are going to take away from this is that you don't need to have it all figured out in the beginning. You don't need that experience. You even don't need a perfect plan. I know perfectionists out there that's going to, like, give you a little shove shockwave, but you don't need to be perfect all the time. You really just need to start and figure it out as you go. I think one of the key phrases I use is that when I started my business, it was like flying the plane while building it. And when
And
I
healing.
literally visualize myself doing that, like, oh shit, like on the plane. But
Right.
you do it, you stick to it, you listen to your intuition, and you let your why fuel your passion.
Right.
So, for anyone listening who wants to support what you're building, and trust me, I'm going to be at the front of the line for that, where can they find you?
Thank you. You can find me at Cozy Clip on Instagram, at The Cozy Clip on TikTok, and thecozyclip.com.
I hope every single freaking woman listening to this who has enough hair to put in a clip is going to be out
Thank
grabbing
you.
one of those today, my friend. I have thoroughly enjoyed your
Thank
story. You
you.
are so inspiring. Girl,
Thanks.
keep it up. If you've done this much by 25, I can't wait to be on the sidelines seeing where you're at
Aw,
5, 10, 15 years from now. You're going to do big
thank
things.
you. That's so nice. You're gonna make me cry.
I want to cry just thinking about how proud of you I am.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you for being a part of this today. Thank you for being willing to share your story and for showing all the other people who are listening to this that all it has to start with is an idea. That's it.
Yep,
And then you take it from there. Thank you,
exactly.
Elena. You
Thank
have the
you.
most beautiful rest of your day, everybody. And please listen to her story and ask yourself, girl, why not you?
Yep.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week. If something in this episode made you sit up a little straighter or dream a little bigger, don't ignore it. That's your future nudging you. I'm living proof that you can start messy, start scared, start in the worst timing, and still create something beautiful. Thank you for listening to Girl, Why Not You? Now go take one small step towards the life you've been craving. Hit subscribe, leave a review if you feel called, and share this with someone who's ready for more.